Hello, shooters, lovers, and casters. Welcome to the Georgia Shooting Connection Friday Night Live stream. Remember our motto, if it doesn't have a steel guitar, is it really country? CW, how was your week?
It was a fabulous week.
When did that become our motto, Jamie?
I just made that up. But 6 agrees. Go ahead, CW. I'm sorry.
Really
How was your week, CW?
Was a really good week. Got to turn all the microphones off. Rebel, how was your week?
My week was all right. I mean, just waiting on surgery. That's all I got. I'm at a place right now in my life where I get down to look at my reloading presses and get to play a little bit and get to hurting and then come back up. You've been there, done that. I'm not going to whine too much. I'm life with an ice pack. That's it right now. Andy, how about you?
Just super busy at work. We got so busy, it's ridiculous. We're in military electronics, so we're slammed. We're slammed. I mean, ridiculous. But other than that, it was a good week. Didn't do much of anything tonight. I came home and decided to really take apart a rifle and do a real deep cleaning on it. But I only took care of one part of it tonight. It's a Marlin Model 60, but it's a Marlin, not whoever took over. And last time the wife was out, 2 years ago, and she started getting failures to feed and failures to eject, and it's like filthy. I mean, I think it's got about 5,000 rounds through it. Hasn't been cleaned. So that's bad on me. But I started out with, I took out the feeder tube, you drop the bullets in the tube and then push the rod in with the spring and the magazine rod, I guess. And anyway, I couldn't move the follower. It was like stuck. It was like, what? So I took that apart and patched it through with some shit and cleaned out. The spring was rusty. It's like, okay, that's all fixed and back together. Now I can do the rest of the rifle. But that's about it. Oh, I filled up my propane tank so I can get to some casting and melting. I got so much thing to melt into ingots, it's out of control. I got another guy just hit me up 3-4 days ago. Are you still doing it? Yes, I am. It's okay. I'll let you know as soon as the box is full. It's okay.
It's always good to have a source, that's for sure.
Well, I got lots of sources, so it's I got 2 gas stations now that's saving all the wheel weights for me because the guys to pick up the scrap, they said we can't be bothered if we get a pound of lead out of a 5-gallon jug. It's a lot, so they don't want to be bothered. The junkyards really don't want the zinc, so I buy them a box of donuts and a 6-pack of Coke or whatever else they want. And I take home roughly a 5-gallon bucket of, like every 3 months. I go to the 2 places, and between the 2 of them, I get maybe 5 gallon, and another 2.5 gallon in another bucket. So,
wow, yeah, that's great.
But it's like you said, there's like no lead. I mean, most of the lead that I'm getting is the soft stick-on stuff. So
you got to add so much to it to make it worth doing anything with.
Well, I'm gonna, if I have enough of it, I'll melt it and sell it for stickers with it. That's all sell it. I'm getting it for free, so it really doesn't, give them 10 pounds for, $20. Take it or leave it. Melt it into ingots. Most people will buy it.
Yes, sir.
But that's it. I'm just starting to get back. The weather's breaking. I got all my my 44 Magnum loads done up. The rest of the lead was loaded. Maybe 80 rounds in lead, but I put together about 500 rounds of zinc. That's done. The Rossi is like in lead bullets. It doesn't. When we went through this, we want this. So I have a bunch of. I probably have about 500 rounds of, like, maybe 500 bullet heads left. And I probably loaded up about. Well, I didn't finish the loading actually. I still got to pick which one. So there's test loads, and after that, then I'll start loading for the Rossi. And that's about it, really.
I'm quick and easy. Had a good week for repairing some vehicles that needed some repairing. I need to do some cleaning on some guns that need some cleaning. But other than that, everything's good here. What about you, Six?
Oh, well, we did pretty good. Saturday we did some shooting, and I shot my lowest overall score ever. And then Penny turned around and shot her lowest score, then turned around and broke that one by 7 seconds. So
Nice.
we got down to 33 seconds. She did really good. So
Nice.
then we went to a very, very large gun show Sunday. Took us about 4 hours to go through it. All I came home with was 5,000 federal small match pistol primers. Got those at a pretty good price. So. And the rest of the week was just work. Just work. It's hot here. That's it.
Amen to
Walter.
that.
Well, I didn't have to work this week or any other week in the last 10 years or so.
Good Lord. Rub it in, sir.
Hey, as soon as you can pull it off, go for it, man. If I'd have known retirement
I
was
hear
going
you,
to be
brother.
this good, I'd have done this part first. my philosophy is we should be retired until we're 50 while our bodies are still cooperative, and then you
Yeah.
just go to work till you die.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I agree with
I did
that
have a good
premise.
week. Yeah. I got to the range. I got some loading and shooting done. I didn't do any casting this week, although I did get another mold today. Like I needed another one. It's one that I've been looking for a long time. Is a Hensley and Gibbs mold designed by Elmer Keith for 44. The number 503. It's kind of a unicorn. It's hard to find because they didn't make a whole lot of them, and people get them and they hang on to them. But anyway, I got one. I won't tell you what I paid for it because it was too much. But, well, it wasn't any more than a brand new Seiko mold. We'll put it that way. But it was pretty close. So I got that. So I'll have to cast that up next week and do some video with that. And I've been working with this perfect pattern powder. More and more test loads with that stuff. And it's still turning out to be a good choice for low to moderate loads, not for heavy loads. It's way too fast burning to do a Magnum load with, I think, anyway. But anyway, so we've been working with that, and I'm working on upgrading my Pieta revolvers. I got 4 of them, of their single action armies, and they need new base pins. The Pieta base pins suck. Anybody out there in the side chat's got a Pieta, raise your hand and you know what I'm talking about. So I got those done. I found a company that's local to me to come up with actual Colt base pins, and I've got a video coming out Sunday about that, and the company that I dealt with. And what else we got? I got new grips coming in for all 4 of those guys from Arizona Custom Gun Grips. And so I spent a whole bunch of money on my Pietas. So you guys,
And
yeah,
Tuco the Rat says that he likes the Pietas better than the
birdies.
Birdies because
Yeah.
basically because the insides, the critical parts, the pawl that drives the cylinder,
Mm-hmm.
the hand, what we would call the bolt, some people call the bolt, it actually locks the cylinder in place while the firing pins dropping, are much more robust than the U-Birdies.
Yeah.
And
I've got a couple of U-Birdies and 4 Pietas, and it might be a little bit more than that on each end, counting the black powder ones. But I kind of agree right now. I think the Pietas win. I've got this good buddy of mine who lives in Italy, and he concurs. He says today the Pieta is out front, said it might be different next month or something.
I also
Pietas turn out better
heard
here.
that the cuts in the cylinder on the Pietas were actually more correct than the more forgiving than the U-Birdies on the bolt or the hand. They're cut at a degree as opposed to more like a Colt, modern Colt.
yeah, well,
That could well be. I mean, the action on all 4 of my Pietas is just wonderful. I mean, it is really good. You know, you pick up a Ruger Blackhawk and go, and you pick up a Pieta, and it's right there, man. It's smooth, it's soft, buttery, and it's quick. And the triggers are good.
The Pietas that I have, I tried to do some slicking up on them. You know, I got in there with my furry tool, with my spinner tool, put some flits on all of it, put a dang wolf spring kit in them. And,
yes,
you can
Chapin, everything in Italy is owned by Beretta.
So far, I haven't felt the need to work on the action of any of these Pietas. All of them are just really slick as they are. Hey, dog, go and ask your opinion.
apparently,
He have thumbs.
Yeah,
he's a
I said, hey, it's my turn. Ain't nobody asked me what I was doing.
He's a Colt man.
But anyway, so
no, he's a Pedersoli fan.
there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah.
He's
That's why he growls.
offended.
So anyway, I'm gonna be dealing with the grips. I got 1-piece grips coming from Arizona Custom Grips, and 6-shooter up there did a video not too long ago, which helped me a lot. I looked at that about 3 times before I ordered those 1-piece ones, as opposed to the screw that goes through on their 2-piece grips. You got to kind of build the 1-piece grips for that grip frame up for the single action Army style, and you got to glue a spacer in there and stuff, but it didn't look too bad. But so I appreciate that video that 6 did. And let's see what else. I talked to this guy over here, sitting to my right, your left, or something. I don't know. Bama Dad. We were working with his app for the Mac. We got on the phone and got to talking about that, and looking at how that was poking along. So he's doing a good job of that. It's gonna be a good piece of kit, you guys. Wait till you see this thing. If you haven't seen it yet, when he's done with it, it's gonna be great. Anyway, good week for me. More of the same coming up next week. Weather's great. Bama Dad, what you got going on, buddy?
Been working on that app. I just got my authorization to pull live weather data from National NOAA.
That's nice.
So you'll be able to take it to a range, plug in your address for the range, and get current weather conditions, including wind, humidity, temperature, barometric pressure, and all that. So that was a big plus. I thought it was going to be more of a deal. Basically, I just sent them an email, told them what I was doing, and within 2 days, they sent it right back. Gave me authorization to do it. So,
Jamie, do I need to go get
I have it roughed in, so it's going in the app.
I need to go get the shirt.
Are you through, Bama Dad?
I'm through.
we're glad to have you on the panel. But apparently, I have to address this every single week because of my buddy Bo. And y'all got to understand, me and Bo love each other like brothers. I mean, if he needed me, I'd do everything I could to get there to Ohio to cover his backside. But the thing is that sugar is not allowed in Southern cornbread. Now, the wish that I would love Jiffy Mix. I do love Jiffy Mix. They make some of the best pancakes ever. And if you guys haven't tried Jiffy Mix, muffin mix, which is, it's all muffin mix. It's not meant to be cornbread. It's meant to be muffins. Muffins technically are sweet, okay? Case closed on that one.
I bought a $30 T-shirt to prove this point.
No, you sent me a link and it was $34.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
It's transitory inflation.
Yeah. So if you guys want some really good pancakes, I recommend. Well, the blueberry's nice. The chocolate chip is better. I think my favorite is the raspberry because it's got a little bit of tartness in there. And the reason I say this is because our buddy Hillbilly sent me a text message earlier that he'd be a little bit late. But the raspberry's got that little bit of tartness in there, and it just makes that syrup makes it that tangy dance, man. It really makes it pop.
I'll tell you how long it's been since I've shopped for pancake mix. I didn't know they had so many pancake mixes. I make mine from scratch. I mean,
we're not. Southerners are not bitter, Fudd, and I think everybody on the panel would agree. We're not bitter. We just still smell the powder burning.
That's exactly right. And we know what good cooking is.
When did this become the Georgia culinary connection?
I don't know that. And we're getting to our topic right now, which is precautions we need to make when loading cast lead bullets. See, y'all got me thinking about cornbread, cast iron.
Well, you don't put sugar in your lead.
And our cast bullets, period, because Andy loves zinc, and those are cast bullets too. And I think the one thing that gets me, Tred's got a good question. We probably should wait, but let's pound on it. Anyone going for a new suppressor or SBR? What I'm hearing is the Justice Department and the ATF ain't backing up.
Wait. You better go on with the subject, Jamie, because we could do a whole. As an FFL, I could do a whole podcast about this, but I will tell you. Go ahead.
As a firm stance on this show, we do not get into politics, and that is borderline politics. We're here to have fun on a Friday night because we've been bombarded with politics all week long. Y'all know y'all got all your email and YouTube notifications all week long about the ruling that came down from a judge and the response from the Department of Justice and the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Right. Anyway, so what are our precautions about loading cast lead bullets? Number one thing that pops into my mind is we have got to flare our case mouse.
Do not shave the lead.
Yes.
Yep.
No matter how you choose to prep your final bullets, whether you powder coat or traditional lube or tumble lube or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or you just dump them in a thing of shoe wax or whatever. Do not shave the lead. That will make your shooting terrible very fast.
4
And it's a
syllables.
mess to clean up,
Lyman
too.
M. Dye. Or
Yep.
copycat thereof.
Yep.
Making sure the case is chamfered too.
Absolutely.
You know, I do that even with jacketed bullets.
Oh yeah, most people do, but that's where I've ran into problems. Like all the cases that Walter gave me, plus I bought a whole bunch. I went through and prepped them all, and I didn't have any problems. But eventually, I started having problems again, and it's because I'm getting other people's brass when they pick up brass when we're cowboy shooting, and some of that stuff isn't chamfered on the inside. I went back and had to re-chamfer a lot of it, and then quit shaving brass or shaving lead again.
M. Gabriel. No, that's no.
Yeah, we'll get into rifle. Let's talk about pistol to begin with, particularly revolver round. Tommy Boy says M dies only work if they're big enough. A lot are not, and that's why I think that particular point right there, Tommy Boy, is the reason why NOE makes their, what do they call them, Walter, or CW, the expander plugs, and they go into the Lee universal
expander. Yep.
And they come in, you can get a lot of different ones, basically.
Yeah, for each caliber, they make several diameters. You know, like for the 45 caliber, they'll make a 450, a 451, a 452, a 453, 449, kind of whatever you want. And then you just slip it into that other die body, and there you go.
Yeah, that RCBS M die was the key on the 45 Colt.
Vanessa Kitty wants to know our favorite 44 mag loads. Y'all got any handy? I'll throw one out there. The Keith bullet, 429, 421.
Yep.
On top of 20 grains of 2400. Now, his load was 22 grains. Scotsman loads 18 grains. I load 20, but I won't shoot it in my handguns. That's a rifle only.
And we are not giving recipes.
No.
This is just information. Do not take anything that we say as law, because it is not.
You load what we load, and you asking for our favorite loads, you're going to blow your dang gun up.
Disclaimer over. Okay.
Go.
Especially if I give you loads for zinc for hot stuff, you'd be like, how the hell you get all that powder? You compress it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
but it's so light it won't make a. Well, it's hard, but it's light, so they kind of offset each other in the zinc. I've never casted any zinc bullets. My only experience with zinc, loading zinc, is the ones that I've been blessed by Andy sending to me. And yeah, I loaded up some 35 Remingtons and started at the minimum for a cast lead load, and Yeah, man. It was like no recoil, and it was like ping, 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 ping. It was awesome. Yeah,
They were coming out fast.
Yep.
they were coming out fast. I wished I still got 5 of them.
Well, I'd send you more. I'll send you more.
I saved 5 of them. I still got some, I think. I think I loaded 20 of them. And see, this is what I did, Andy. I loaded 20 of my hunting rounds with cast lead, and this is 35 Remington. Then I loaded almost the same load with your zinc bullets. It was a little bit lighter charge, and took them to dead zero. And y'all know that reloading from the hot pot, our buddy Gene has this attraction to 35 Remington because it was his first deer hunting rifle when he was little, and he shot both loads, and it was like he couldn't believe the difference.
Yeah,
I will say
Shaving
this,
lead and powder
everybody's got-
coat's not just about the mouth flare, though. You can have a good mouth flare and put it up into your cedar dye and still shave lead, because a lot of the cedar dyes are tapered as you go up into the dye body, and they'll start to fold in that mouth flare before you even get up to the crimp groove in that dye. That's why I like that Hornady Cowboy cedar dye, because it's a straight walled dye body, and it does not taper, so it won't start bending your mouth flare in until you get
Dang,
the
Walter.
bullet seated.
That's a good point to make. When I load
Yeah.
cast bullets, I don't like to crimp and seat in the same step. I always
Exactly.
seat and then I go back and crimp just
Right.
for that reason. Yeah, good point, Walter.
And there again, I'll say, with jacketed bullets, I don't like to crimp and seat in the same step. I just don't. Yeah.
I think everybody on the panel would agree. That's a no-no.
There's a reason that your die manufacturers sell individual dies. That's so you can set the seating and crimping die to just seat it, and then you have another seating and crimping die to crimp it.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta
Exactly.
get the cowboy
screwed.
seated guys now. See, I wondered why. I mean, I was even going to the point of flaring my case mouse too far, and I was still getting that ring, that shiny ring after you seat the bullets, and I'm like, man, what I gotta do now? I know. Thanks, Walter. I appreciate
Well,
that.
sometimes you can just back your die out. You know, they tell you run it down till you feel something, and then back out a half turn. So you back it out 3 turns, as long as your seat stem's long enough.
That's what I do.
Because if you can get it, if you can back that, RCBS die out far enough to get away from some of that taper that's built into the die body.
You take the
Then
taper
you
out
might-
of it and then crimp it on the next step.
Yeah, that might
I
that
back
might help.
mine out. I back mine out way out on the 550.
Yep.
And then have a separate crimping die, and just it pretty much makes it a straight wall. It's not as good as the Hornady Cowboy. You can load that or screw that down at a normal depth.
Yeah, that Hornady Cowboy die is a good die. Comes with 2 seat stems. And, I use, but they only make that Cowboy die in 357, 44, and 45. That's all they make it in, as far as I know.
I
Which is
switched my Lee. I switched my Lee 600 over to those, and they run it a lot better.
The cowboy dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
Dang
it doesn't
it.
have that stupid spring clip thing at the bottom either, like their regular Hornady dies do.
I got
Cedar dies do.
a lot of stuff to catch up with here. CW says 2400 is his go-to for heavy loads with casts and bigger magnums.
Yep.
Yeah.
Miss
It was
Kitty.
on vacation for quite a while. It was hard to find for a while, but it's back now.
I don't even know what that means, ma'am. So there's no way I can tell you what my favorite is. Glenn Davis. Always check multiple manuals for your reloading data. And that's another thing we're going to get into later, and I want CW to talk a lot about this, is the lack of data for cast lead bullets.
Yeah, most people are going off a book that's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Tommy
You know, and
Boyce.
Lyman's been our go-to, but that 4th edition cast bullet manual is getting pretty far out of date now. It's time for them to step it up and come up
There's
with a new one.
powders in that
Yeah,
book
it
they don't
is.
even make anymore.
I think
Yeah.
the problem with Lyman and the cast lead bullet handbook is powder coating. I think they don't know how to handle that, and they could hire me, and I'd come up there and show them. Anyway,
Well, the thing is, there's a whole lot of legal area in there. And let me just say this is not reloading advice, but you can generally get by with a cast bullet load using jacketed load data, but you go with the next largest bullet. Does that make sense? If you got a 200 grain, use the 210 grain load data. That way you know you're safe.
and start at the minimum.
Right. And you I mean, that's why we do this. You find your own load.
All right, we're past time for roll call, so let me get through these comments I want to address. And Walter, be thinking about what we're going to type in because I got a clue.
Okay.
Gene is doing okay. The last time I talked to him and Miss Chrissy are, as far as I can tell, blissful and working. Both of them working and bringing in money and all that other stuff. So I know. I'll get to that. Bye, D. My stepson's leaving. CW says cowboy cedar dyes are excellent choices for cast bullet loaders. So I will be getting me a set of those in 38 and 44 next payday. He also says Redding makes that profile crimp dye that's also excellent for roll crimp cases, which is all of those. Tread says he goes when he's backing up, he goes 1.5 turns.
Yeah, you can look at somebody's press and go, wow, that's jacked up. Or you can go, oh, they know what they're doing. The seating stem is ran all the way in where you can't even see any threads anymore. It's because I got the dye backed off so it doesn't taper crimp it.
Right.
GDW's got a good question. We'll address this after the roll call. Walter says he loves his profile crimp dyes, so I got to get some of those as well. And CW addressed GGW's comment. And what are you thinking, Walter?
For the what to type in, I was just thinking reload.
I was thinking flare.
Okay. I like
What
it.
do you think?
Thinking
You
what?
like it?
Yeah.
Flare. FLAIR. Flare those.
That's a different flare. FLARE is what we want.
That's woo!
All right, let's just go with it. Type in your version of flare and we'll get
There we go.
reload will work too. And they're off the page.
They're
I'm
all
glad I have
Look at all of these folks.
let me try this up arrow.
I put in both of them.
Hey, y'all know
Yeah.
what?
Hey, this right here is flare.
I put in BOFFUM, both of them.
Both of them.
I'm putting
Both
in
of 'em.
HMFWIC, and only a few of you know what that is.
The up arrow still does not work, so I'm glad I have a mouse.
Good, you got a mouse.
All right, let's do this to mark our place.
We're off the page.
Yeah, we're way off the page. Kyle Lusk was first with reload and flare, CW2A flare, and they're both on the panel and in the side chat. My brother Fudd with the guns out there. Walter is on the panel and the side chat also. So is Andy. Tommy Boy is out there. Glad to have you. Glenn Davis also. 6-shooter Texans on the panel and in the side chat. Glenn Davis. Mike Hester is on the panel. So is Bama Dad and the side chat. And Andy recorrected because I misspelled Flair. Uncle Bob, the real Uncle Bob, not no fake Uncle Bobs, but
We don't need no fake Uncle Bob.
no. And we got the real Edward.
He spelled Flair. Spelled Flair totally different.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I really want to say something, but I'm not going to. Edward Petty, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Dale Pogue, Glenn Davis, Fred, what's up, brother? Fudd with a gun. Bama Dad is out there and in the panel. Last of 3. Yeah, I know, Glenn. Well, okay. The real Uncle Bob again. Bobby Barlow. Andy 79Z28 is cutting through the BS and writes bail. Good deal. Good job, Andy. Dwayne 783401 guy. James Pollard. Welcome in, Mr. Pollard. Let's see. GGW's at it again. Yeah. Miss Kitty's way confused. Tommy Boy, that is my favorite answer yet. Y'all ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Yeah.
And he's from North Carolina, right?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Fudd with a gun, Ric Flair. He did the same thing. I think we're up. No. There's Rollis Carvelis. Maybe now we're up to date. Yeah. Miss Kitty. M. Gabriel. I don't know what that means. Mr. Hillbilly, come on in when you get time, brother.
Hey, Mike.
There's our brother, Willie MCK Mock. And yeah, Hillbilly knows Ric Flair too. That's what I'm talking about. And we are up to date for roll call. Thank all of y'all for being here. We love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. And I know I'm late. Sorry. Where were we at? Did we have a note marking our place? We were talking about how hard cast lead gets over time.
They do get harder.
Yep, and that how much harder and how much bigger they'll grow is somewhat alloy dependent. You know, pure lead stuff will change differently than something real hard that's high in antimony. And it's not bigger. It's about who crystallizes first. You know, because remember when we're mixing, you know, our lead, tin, and antimony, we're not making a new molecule. We're making a mixture, like mixing salt and pepper. You know, they don't combine. So if you got more antimony, which crystallizes at a different rate than the lead does, it's going to make that bullet expand at a different rate. as it cools, and that's partly why we, with our harder alloys, we end up with a smaller diameter cast bullet than with pure lead. You need a little bit, bigger diameter. You can change your alloy.
Another very important thing about cast bullets is sizing them correctly.
One of the beauties of casting your own is you can size them for your bore.
There's a difference between 429 and 432.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like a
About
lot,
three-
but your groups change
3,000.
drastically.
Okay, here's an exercise for you guys. Tread. Hard sized bullets. Add lube to help.
Yep.
Miss Kitty said lube is important, so I believe her. Here's an exercise. Take a piece of copy paper. It needs to be 20-pound bond. Just regular old copy paper. It's cheap. You probably got access to it at work. Take your calipers to work and measure the thickness of that piece of paper. What do y'all think the thickness is for a sheet of paper?
It's bonded paper is probably, the masking tape is 4,000.
0.1 millimeters.
I work in thousandths, dude.
Oh, somebody's Googling.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. It's less than masking tape. So
Okay,
I'll say-
0038 to 0004.
I'll go 4,000s. That's
Yeah,
about
that's-
be about right, I think.
4,000 is the right answer.
you can use masking tape to headspace a rifle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me hide this comment.
Look at everybody
and
Googling.
and you wouldn't think that little bit would make a difference, but when you're talking about 4,000ths is a big difference. If
Yep.
you're talking about, like Kyle said, 432 compared to 428 or something, on
And
how
we're all
much
getting
engagement
into
you're going to get in your rifling.
what we taught obturation, which is what Walter just said, engagement you get with your rifling, and it makes a big difference. And I'm not the casting expert here. All these other guys are. I just understand bullet dynamics and stuff. I shoot cast bullets, but
The
I don't
thickness
cast
of that sheet of paper when it comes to cartridge overall length can be the difference of your round chambering and not chambering.
Yep. I've seen it do it.
I know. Fred says it's 11,000. Miss Kitty,
Me and Tread and Scotsman experienced it at dead zero. That's the difference between a Ruger Red Hawk eating 44s and not shooting 44s.
yeah, M. Gabriel says it's interesting that he did not know that. Yep, 4,000ths is the thickness of a piece of paper, in my opinion. CW makes some good points here. Yep, too small is a killer. Too fat may affect accuracy, but it will swage. As long as it'll chamber, right, CW?
Yeah, and there, you kind of got to. I know CW recently did a video on running a piece of lead through his bore, to check the diameter of his bore, And that's kind of an important thing to do if you're really going to get in and do the best job you can with cast bullets. You need to size that bore and find out
Well, and
what the bore diameter as well as the groove diameter, so you can tell the difference between what you'll know what the depth of your lands and grooves are. And once you know
especially
that, yeah, you can get that
Go
bullet
ahead.
sized exactly for that firearm, because they're different. I mean, they're SAMI specs, but it's pretty easy for one firearm to be a thousandth or two different from another, even though they're technically billed as the same caliber.
and that old 3855 caliber that he was running, they were all over the place as far as bore size.
Right.
Now the H&R is a more modern rifle, but still, you gotta let it to know what you need. So
Mhm.
I was really pleased with that video, how good that thing shot with the period correct scope. That was really cool.
Shot even better today.
Yeah, you did a good job
Did
with that
it?
thing.
All right, cool.
Inside 2 inches at 100 yards.
Ooh,
That's
that's
a deer
better than your
killer,
first
buddy.
go around with it.
Yeah.
So you're not going to go plant tomatoes with it, huh?
Yeah, it's tomato steak. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that thing turned out to be a really good
It's
enough
it's
rifle. You resurrected a dud for sure.
Oh, Tommy boy, imparting infinite wisdom.
Yeah.
If your cylinder is smaller than your bore, you need a different gun. Either that, or you need to hone out your cylinders.
Yeah, you gotta that's one of the worst situations you can get into with fit of a revolver, is if those cylinder throats are smaller than your bore. There's no good outcome to that, because you can size your bullets for your bore, but then they won't go into the cylinder.
It's
'Cause
like
they're too
shooting
tight, they won't go in.
270 down a 30-06, right?
Yeah.
Turns into a ping pong ball going down the barrel.
Right. And you have no recoil. Boomsticks out there. Hillbilly ups out there.
Hey, boom. There he is, and Hillbilly, both of you.
Ron 2A Matters joined us. Welcome in, my brother.
Hey, Ron.
I got to go up and see him. He don't live that far from me, and it's an embarrassment that I hadn't already been to visit with him.
He's a prolific rascal with the videos, man. He's been putting out a bunch lately, and they're all good. He hadn't had a flop out there yet.
Apparently, Hillbilly was born too late.
Well, I'm the first of Gen X, so I ain't gonna say nothing.
I'm the last.
Yeah.
I am the very end of the boomers. I was born in 62.
I was born in '65.
That makes
Yeah,
me
we're the very first of the boomers, Mike.
Yep.
Of the
I'm the very first.
extras.
Yeah.
Extras. Yeah.
y'all the first of Gen X.
I can proudly
Yep.
claim Gen X status because I came in at the tail end.
And we could just go ahead and say Gen X ruined the world. We created Facebook and Amazon and Walmart and every damn thing else, and we just ruined the world. We suck.
Yeah, but you guys learned all that info from the boomers.
Yeah, that's true.
And off we go.
We didn't put it into effect, but we talked about it.
Well, the boomers made great bombs. The Gen Xers put on the old World War II Vietnam era bombs. We decided we were going to put a little thing on it that followed a laser.
We gave them
we made them
wings.
even more. Yeah, well, that's right. Gen X. We give you
We-
wings.
We just added Red Bull to
and,
them and gave them wings.
All right,
That's
guys.
right.
Reel it in here. Act like somebody now.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Boom has invented the laser.
You guys are such a bunch of youngsters. I can't believe it.
When it comes to cast lead bullets and need, if there is any existing load data for your particular bullet, you will find it in this.
Yep.
And there's other places that have data now.
Do tell.
There's places where people are putting up loads with even oddball powders out there for your, it's caliber specific, but there's quite a few websites that do that now. They list loads that people have been using.
Well, this book, like most others of a particular manufacturer's press, will focus generally on their particular products. So I think it's a crying shame that more of the mold manufacturers do not offer load data for their particular stuff. I wish NOE did. I know that with the close relationship that they have with Full Ed Taco, that could be done. They could do that. It would just take, they'd have to hire Mike for a while, but yeah, that could be done. Particularly Lee with, but they've got their own load book, but none of it is about cast lead bullets. Well, I guess some of it is, but anything that's in the lead book for cast lead was copied and pasted out of this book.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'll tell you that for certain because they do not have a ballistics laboratory.
And I mistrust online sources for reloading data if they don't talk about what pressures were generated by their particular loads. If they don't have a way to measure the internal pressures,
Yeah.
I don't trust it. I'd rather develop, work up my own loads, check my case mouth, extraction, primers, all that kind of stuff myself. And
That's
even
all
then, I
part of
don't know what the
recording.
pressures were, but you can get an idea.
That's the whole point of it. It really, you can look at someone's load data, and then if you like the powder and what you're seeing per se, you start low and you work your own load up. Every gun fires differently.
Right.
Your gun may like a half grain more or a half grain less than what they say is the best. So you don't
Sure.
know.
And some guns are stronger than others and
Right.
better
Well,
for load development and so
It's
forth.
part of the fun. That's why we do what we do.
You
It's
need,
fun.
you,
Right.
you need to have a good idea about what you're playing with before you just take somebody's load data and put it in your gun. You got to know if your gun's strong enough to handle those kind of loads. There's a lot of variables, so you got to work
Mhm.
smart. It's like me. I'm not looking for hot loads. I'm running my 44 Magnum with 7.8 grains of Winchester WSH, which is like green dot, and I got 1,100 feet per second coming out of there. You've seen some of my videos that are giving me a half inch at 50 yards, and I'm happy with it. It's good enough. I want hot. I've got a hot load that works, but I don't want to sit there doing that all day either.
Okay. Here's the thing I want to talk about, and I want CW to chime in on this. I'm pretty quiet tonight. I think we can all agree that when we decide to reload, the first choice that we make is the bullet. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
We're
you've
gonna
got
work
the
our
caliber,
load.
yeah.
Everything
We're gonna
after
work-
that is dependent on the bullet that we
Right.
decide we're going to load for. Okay. CW, take us through your next thought process. I know what mine is, and rifle or pistol, but yeah. Tread says caliber. Yeah, we're going to load 38s. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to decide what bullet we're using.
What are you asking me for, Jamie?
What's your next thought after you decide the bullet? What's your next?
After you size it?
No, after you decide what bullet you're going to load in 38. 38 special. Just
Well,
for,
you're going to decide on a powder. You're going to refer to one of the manuals we spoke about and decide what you want for velocity, what you need to do with that load, and start pretty low. You're a little safer with cast bullet data because the pressures are lower, but you still don't want to start with the top loading. And load up a couple of shells and try them.
there's a step in there that I put before all of those. And I never want to argue with you. That's not my point. I got to make sure it's going to chamber, so I'm going to make a dummy round.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, Jamie. I just posted a link. I've done this before in the past. You just have to log on to YouTube or whatever. You go to that Google Drive, and there are folders upon folders of reloading manuals online, old press stuff, old books and stuff. And you can download the book if you want the specific book.
I've done this, y'all. There is a ton of stuff in there.
And
Oh, is that Google Drive that you posted earlier?
Yeah.
Like several months ago? Yeah.
I've done it a few times, but I just figured since they were talking about, having access to load data and stuff.
Yeah, there is a crap ton of information in that link.
There's shotgun on there. There's everything.
That's what I did last week, because I went on there and I went into each one of those manuals and seen if they had 7 TCU. They did. I printed out that page. And,
Yeah.
And I made
There's
a
a lot of information in that link.
You can
amazing.
download a whole
Just
manual.
be careful, because
Well, yeah,
some
because
of that
it's
old
older.
powder has changed.
Yeah, it's older.
Yeah.
It's a powder that was made, 30 years ago, and it's still made, but it's different. So you start light and work your way up. That's all. Like anybody that does reloading, you know what
That's
to
the
do.
number one rule. Start light.
Yeah,
Try make 3 or 4 rounds of a starting charge, test it in your gun, and then go from there.
Yeah.
and a chronograph's going to help you a lot.
Yeah. And it's cheap enough with cast bullets. What's a cast 45 Colt bullet cost you 2 cents or something, make 3 or 4 of them and
It's
and
more,
go try
my
'em.
time's more expensive than the bullet is.
Right. Test it, look at your velocity, look at your case, see what the recoil was, see where it hit, all that good stuff. And say, okay, that was a good safe load. The bullet got out the end of the barrel. I'll build up from there.
And then you build up from there. You find the node, the node where the group comes together, and then there'll be another node, a little bit more powder.
Yep.
So you get to the level you want to be at. I'm not looking for hot stuff. Okay, all I want, most of my stuff at the range that I go to, it's outdoors. It's a 25 yards or 50 yards. I can go 100 yards, 200, and 300. And every now and then I go down there with my full loads of play. But everyday shooting, I save my shoulder. Walter knows.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have heard me griping about my arthritic wrists, and I got to pay attention to that. I can still go shoot a few magnum loads, but about one wheel full, if I shoot more than that of a 1750 foot per second 429 421 bullet out of a 44 mag, if I shoot any more than that, I'm not shooting for 2 weeks. Is that simple?
Yeah.
But they're still fun. So I still do it.
That goes back to what Brian says, and what Tread says here. What do you want to do with that bullet? Tread saying, if all you're doing is punching paper, find the minimum load that gives you that accuracy.
Mhm.
And
It's like
yeah,
when I go again with the 44 and the 357 rifle, I shooting light stuff. The last 2 or 3 rounds are hot, and everybody turns their head. What was that? Because I wasn't shooting anything like
Yeah.
that before.
I hear that same thing.
what I
So
like
you gotta
about
dial in the fun factor. That's got to be
Yeah.
part of your loading.
I always
Yep.
bring. When I'm smart. When I go, I have the box I'm shooting from, and then I have a plastic bag with 2 or 3 hot loads, so I don't get convinced to shoot 20 of those hot loads.
what I like about this book is it gives you an idea of cartridge overall length.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And then from there, you can measure your ogive and your bullet length and get some idea.
Right.
But, I think the first thing we do is we decide, obviously, what cartridge we're going to load for. And then I think Mr. Pollard made a good point. Bullet size, load pressure. Bullet size, I take that to mean diameter and weight. And Tommy Boys, he likes to look for powders the cartridge uses before he looks for molds. So he's looking way in advance, and I think we all do that to an extent. Don't y'all think? I think we're all trying to get a general idea of everything involved before we start taking notes in our notebook about what we're about to do. And
you got to look at what's available.
Right.
What powders you already have, and if
Yeah.
you don't have it,
Right.
can you buy it? Because these days,
what can you
just-
get?
yeah,
well,
And what-
that Winchester powder that I use, there is no low data for.
right, yeah,
Okay, I mean it's very similar to Green Dot, but still not the same. Fire rate is different. It's a little slower.
Well,
What?
here's
You just have to work up that load. You can, and again, I'm using that Winchester powder, 380, 9mm, 30-30, 30-06, 357, 38, 300 blackout. What else? And the 44 mag. I'm using one powder for everything. If you find the
Andy,
right
that's called going off the reservation.
yeah,
all right.
well,
And
Yeah.
and I've
Well,
done
Andy,
that
if you don't
before.
mind me asking,
not,
which powder is that?
it's called Winchester WSH, Winchester Super Handicap, the
Okay.
shotgun powder.
yeah.
And
It's
and
called
it's,
going off the reservation. You've
Yeah.
done your research. You looked at the burn rate. You said, I can do this with a zinc bullet, no problem.
do it with lead.
I'm an experienced reloader, and you compare burn rates and everything, and you worked up your load slow. Most
I
people
also
don't do that.
I also
You
use
know.
quick loads.
Well,
Those-
whatever. But
It's like we always talk about, well, not always, but every now and then we bring up the Emperor, Timothy, bring
right.
him up.
Mhm.
He is the dot powder master.
Yes.
He has got a dot powder for every caliber known to man, and he's done all the research, and he'll tell you that this is what I shoot, but you need to start here. And you're not going to find this in any book, but I've been playing around, and this works.
I
my
need to
cousin
call
did the
him
same. My cousin did the same thing with Unique. He's got some old load manuals. They have 30-06 loads, 45-70 loads for Unique.
Oh, that's ignorant.
And
But that's
no,
11
it's not ignorant. It's not
30
ignorant. If you do it right, and it's a low velocity, felt wattage round.
Well, I didn't
it'll
mean
stick.
ignorant in that way. When I said ignorant, I meant that's off the reservations.
It's
well, I mean-
it technically is now.
Unique is a
Because
classic powder for cast bullets in every single caliber made. Same with
Right.
2400. Every
Exactly.
single caliber can be loaded.
My cousin,
Mhm.
it
Just
proved to
because people
me,
don't know about it and don't do it anymore doesn't make it anything but what it is.
It's
Right.
right.
12 grains are unique in a 30-06, 180 grain bullet. You'll be happy.
He took a 4570, loaded it with X amount of unique, punched through a 4x4 at 50 yards. I mean, I'm like, okay, I'll shut up now,
Right.
because he's got all these old reloading manuals, and uniques pretty much stayed the same
Everywhere.
Yeah.
everywhere.
And a lot of these powders
So,
have been around for a very long time.
The
Okay.
reason I say Andy's going off the reservation is because he's using an unknown powder that's not listed for what, and he's using a different bullet, and he's had to use his knowledge to compile that ability to be able to do that, and he has enough knowledge to do it. I've gone off the reservation before with different powders, but you got to look at burn rates. You got to be experienced, and it's not something for a novice reloader. Novice reloaders need to follow a friggin' manual. That's for
Now,
sure.
how many of us during the great powder shortage were just buying powder that you could find? You've never heard of the powder, never had any experience with it. It's not in any loading manual, and you just went ahead and started playing with it.
Well, my one thing with the Winchester was the price. They sent them the wrong powder. He had two 24-pound boxes, 24 pounds per box, and he only had 45 of them left, and I got them for $1 a piece.
Dang, there you go. See?
Because he couldn't sell it. It's not even a popular shotgun powder.
I got a buddy of mine that ordered 25 pounds of machine gun powder. I can't remember the number, off a certain website, and he can literally scoop a case of 30-06 and make it 300 Win Mag, low 300 Win Mag performance with no pressure. It's very slow burning, whatever, but it's bulk powder, and that was bought 20 years ago. I'm sure now that it's been numbered and it's much more expensive. So, but anyway, we're getting off subject. Go ahead, Jamie, pull us back in.
I'm trying, brother. Another
I
thing
know.
about getting our
I'm giving you a
mindset-
chance.
Another thing about getting our mindsets to load preliminary stuff. I love this comment from Thorzak. It's been a minute. This was 11 minutes ago. I have to admit there's some cast bullet loads that I hold out and look at and say, there's something about you, girl, that makes me sweat.
Yes, sir.
He must be reading Elmer Keith's loads.
Right. The one that pops into my mind is that 429-421 with 22 grains of 2400. That makes me sweat.
Okay, Jamie, Thor's got me on a bender here. What is that song? Who is that? What is that song, and who is that band? Because that's a song.
I don't know, and I don't care. We're talking about reloading cast bullets.
Yeah.
I'll think about that.
That's 429-421 in a 44 special case on top of 7.5 grains of unique, and you got you a skeeter load that will do you good all day long.
Absolutely. Punch
How many
paper,
guns did he blow up?
A bunch of
more
them
than
get
I
to
could
that
count.
load.
Not
I don't
Skeeter.
know.
More than
Skeeter, none. Elmer Keith, a lot.
Here's the thing. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm going to find out because, hell, I was there. All I got to do is look. Anyway,
It's up
He
there.
blew the
Yeah,
top
I think,
strap off the cover.
I'm glad Ron Wayne's out here. I got a box from him, and I'm going to show it right before we do the verse of the week, which is quickly approaching. I think in our subconscious, before we even decide what bullet, I think what CW said goes on in our subconscious as far as what do we want to do with that particular bullet.
Mm-hmm.
What is our point? What is the whole precept? And I'm telling y'all right now, this discussion could go on for a month.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Boy says certain bullets will not fit in certain revolvers because of length. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
you get a
most
good
of
long
them-
old Keith bullet, and it might be, longer than Sammy Spec. And if your revolver cylinder was cut right at Sammy Spec, it might not fit. Sammy Spec
Yeah,
was
but how
1.6,
many
and you got
different
1.7.
you or CW have to answer this question, Walter. How many different designs of the 429, 421 are out there? They're all
There's about
labeled
4.
429, 421.
They're all pretty much the same length of bullet. The biggest difference is in the grease grooves. But yeah,
Meat-
and
meat
it's a
plots.
long bullet designed for 44 mag, and if you got a short cylinder 44 special, it might not go in there. So,
You have to seed it deeper, and then you got to deal with pressures.
Yeah,
Yep.
just don't do that. If you've got 44 special, don't load that bullet.
Which one?
The 429, 421.
yeah, the Ruger revolvers, the Blackhawks will handle them. Their cylinders are a little bit longer than like the Smith & Wesson cylinder is, and they'll fit. And if you got a 44 mag revolver, then the 44 special is fine in that revolver. You got to do a little more cylinder cleanup, as you know, but if it's a Ruger Blackhawk, the 429, 421 seated to the crimp groove will fit with plenty of room left over. They come out at about 1.7. You know how I know? Because I just got done loading 50 of them today.
Yeah, I think my point about the dummy round, and I don't want to be promoting another YouTube channel, although I love the dude, but I think my point about the dummy round is making sure that when you're finished loading up 100, 200, 500, if you got progressive press, whatever you're going to do, I think it's important to know for sure before you start that round is going to chamber in your particular firearm.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's premier. You've got to do that. If it's a new bullet for you and you haven't ever loaded one before, you want to make that dummy round, make sure it's going to fit.
I don't make many dummy rounds for handguns. I don't really know why. Too many bullets, they won't fit in the box. I don't know. I've got rifle rounds with dummy rounds that I got separate boxes because I got so many damn dummy rounds in them. But I tend to just use the firearm, either the cylinder or the barrel, when I'm making a new load, and I drop it right in the barrel.
Yeah.
And if it fits with the first one, it's going to fit with the rest, unless there was something wrong with the brass or the bullets or what I did. So I just don't. I'm a big fan of dummy loads. I just don't do them for hand loads for handguns. Simply
If I've
because
got a
there's
new
so
mold
many
and
different
I've never
bullets.
used it before, and it, maybe it casts fatter, maybe it casts long or it casts short or whatever. It's a brand new bullet and I've never ever shot it before and there's no load data. I'll make a dummy round and make sure it's going to chamber if it's particularly for semi-auto, and make sure that it's not longer than magazine length, and make sure that it's going to,
Go watch.
nosedive over and chamber. But
Go watch
you're
the
right,
guy
Phil.
that owns Buffalo Bore. Go watch some of his videos because he's got some 45 Colt loads that are standard pressure for certain guns, like a new model Vaquero or a new model Blackhawk, and then he's got some plus P loads that are for old model Vaqueros, old model Blackhawks, certain Colt repros that won't fit in the cylinders of other guns. They literally, he shows one video where he's got an old Freedom Arms, now Magnum Research, 45 Colt single action, and he loaded a plus P in there, and the bullet's so long and the cylinder so short that it won't revolve. It's sticking out of the cylinder. So I know those are all jacketed bullets, but some of them are. He loads some hard cast, but it's a good idea to check before you load up 500.
I think it's imperative, and that's where our book, our cast bullet handbook comes in. Is you can get in there, and once you get a cartridge overall length that'll fit in your gun, and hopefully they've got data for that particular bullet. If you got a Lyman mold, the chances are probably about, I would say 65 to 75% that they'll have load data in there for a Lyman mold. But once you get what's going to your cartridge overall length that'll fit in your gun, then you can start doing adjustments for pressure. And I think that's where starting low and working up comes in. Anybody agree or disagree?
Oh yeah, I agree.
And with revolver bullets, those revolver cast bullets, not all, but probably most, have a crimp groove, and that'll give you an idea on how, where to seat that bullet if you're not sure. And you'll be close to what Lyman says, but it may not be exact. But
yeah, with that, you have to remember that there's so many cast bullets, and quite a few of them are designed for one particular cartridge in general. So 337 is a really good one to talk about, because there's at least a half a dozen from Lyman that are almost identical, and they're not at all interchangeable. They, like Mike said, they literally, you seat it to the crimp groove, like Walter just said, and it may not even fit in your cylinder.
Yeah, it might have been designed for.
So why? Well, because it was designed for a different firearm, same caliber, different firearm.
Mm-hmm.
So just seating to the crimp doesn't always get you what you expect.
Yeah,
that also brings up a good point, CW. You also need to know the characteristics of the powder you're loading. So, like H110 296, me and you are both very familiar with that. What it likes, what it doesn't like, how much you can compress it. That transfers from 300 blackout to pistol, which is kind of a gray area, but it doesn't like to be compressed. It likes to be touched, but it doesn't like to be compressed. And you have to go into that carefully with pistol powders. Don't you agree?
Yeah, we're talking about bullets and overall lengths, but absolutely. Yeah, you're
right.
Very important.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know the characteristics of the powder you're loading for said bullet.
One of the things too, on you say like a Blackhawk, if you just take an empty case and drop it into a cylinder and measure that length, you can't go bigger than that. It's that simple.
Hey, there you go.
If you have a firearm that the rims actually go into the cylinder, then your cylinder length is your max.
Hey, there's nothing better than checking it in the firearm you intend to shoot it in.
Absolutely.
Case checkers are great. Case gauges are great. They're not the same thing,
Right.
Nope.
but your cylinder, your gun, your barrel taken out of your semi-auto, there's nothing
That's the
better
final
than right there
judge.
at your bench.
That's the final judge right there.
That's
what
what's
I always do.
manufacturer.
Good old plunk test.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
best chamber checker you own is your gun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the actual gun you're going to shoot it in.
Guys, I'm gonna bail out.
All right,
Well,
Andy.
Okay, Andy.
Okay.
Good night,
See
buddy.
you later,
Yeah,
Andy.
Have a good night, buddy.
Weekend.
Andy.
Everybody on the side chat, have a good weekend.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Yeah, exactly. On the pistol cases in particular, you might have a round that you've had the size larger for your firearm, and you stick it in your checker gauge, your pistol gauge, and it won't go. And you say, "Oh man, this round's no good." But then if you stick it in your cylinder and it fits
Firearm.
fine,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah,
cylinders, go ahead, Jamie.
Something y'all mentioned earlier. Um, crimp grooves. They're there for a reason. And if you do some checking with your dummy rounds, you're probably not going to be disappointed with crimp grooves.
And that also depends on how hot you're going to load them. You know, a lot of people don't even crimp them in these cowboy loads because they
yeah, it just
actually
depends
push
on
them.
neck tension.
Yeah, they push them out. You know, say they're running 38s and a 357. They run them out as long as they can, and there's not even crimp groove there.
Yeah,
Right.
two things with what Rick just said. He's speaking for cowboy action stuff, which is generally very, very light loads and generally fast burning powders.
Right.
You can't really do that with 296 H110 little gun in Magnum 357
That's what I would.
44. The bullets will jump forward, or you won't get good ignition. So it
Right,
depends
and that's
on
what
the
I was
powder.
saying. It depends on what you're doing with it.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
cowboy stuff, light loads like Rick's talking, absolutely. You're probably going to have your best results. But
Yeah.
it
I
doesn't
mean,
apply everywhere.
I'm
You have to
running
know what you're
slick.
doing.
I'm running slick-sided bullets in my 38s right now. You know, I do push on it some with a crimp to help kind of seat it into the bullet, but that's all I do.
Something I've done a lot of years with a lot of my cast bullet handgun loads is a taper crimp. Usually taper crimps are just used for semi-autos because you can't roll them in because they headspace off the case mount.
Mhm.
Right.
But I find that it works really good on lighter loads across the board. It's just a light crimp to retain the bullet. And it gives you a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a resistance to help burn that powder. And overall, I find it's beneficial. Not
It's
so
easier on
for
your
Magnum
brass,
loads.
too.
These are lighter
Yeah.
loads.
If you're shooting full house Elmer Keith stuff in a revolver, you need to roll crimp. But I agree with CW. A taper crimp holds most medium to light loads just fine.
Or even a
if you
collet
don't-
crimp.
Right.
And both of those, the taper crimp and the collet crimp, are easier on
Yeah.
your brass than a roll crimp.
Yeah,
Sure.
they
Yeah.
are. That Lee Factor crimp die.
Yeah, and if you
It's
was just going to
probably
say,
the
if you're
best
using
thing
that
they ever
factory
made.
crimp die, you can back it
Mhm.
off so it's not doing so much, and
Right.
it'll
Just-
act more like a taper.
It's just kissing it.
Act, not
Yeah.
it's a collet, so it can't
Yeah.
be a taper,
Yeah.
but it can
Get
Yeah,
rid of
you-
your mouth flare.
lightly
you know,
crimp. Yeah,
Yeah,
remove the mouth
thank
flare.
you. Thank you. That was my thought. You got to get rid of that flare. If you opened up the bell, you bailed
Right.
that case to get that bullet in there and not shade. You got to close
And
that up.
another thing about what Six was saying, if you're using, I'm going to say newer style slick-sided bullets, no grease grooves, you've got more surface area on the bullet shank contacting the case. So I think you get a little bit better grip from neck tension
Mhm.
than you would with a bullet that's got 3 big old fat grease grooves in it, or 2. if
Listen,
it's like
listen to you, Walter. You think we talk about precision rifle now?
Well, hey, if
Hey, it works.
you can
You're
you can
right.
beat your brass up if you want to, or you can
There
run
you
your
go.
38 stuff out for 20
Uh,
rounds or more.
That's
See,
right.
that's the trick, is to get that flare just big enough not to shave the brass,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
yeah, and then have to close it up. It seems like you're work hardening that brass, and it kind of makes me feel like I need to start
Well,
annealing pistol brass, which is
well,
absolutely
y'all, this is a little off subject, but a buddy of mine who hunts groundhogs with me, who's a very experienced reloader, was messing with a 308, a Tika. And he was like, my dies are messed up. Do you got any extra 308 dies? And I went, it right now with my condition, it takes me a little bit to get down to the gun room. And I went down there and looked, and I said, I got 4 sets of 308 dies. You can't mess with the ones I use normally. But what do you need? He said, well, my sizing die is shaving copper.
No.
And so he comes over to pick up the dies. He thinks something's wrong with his dies. And I said, John, how did you set those dies up? He said, well, I set them up like I always do. Now, I consider John a precision reloader. He shoots very, very well. But he has 2 nickels, and he runs his sizing die down, and then he pulls the nickels out. He sets the thing, and he's like, I'm like, dude, are you even bumping your shoulder back? Oh, no. And I was like, well, guess what? The ball that expands your neck is completely independent of that die. So if you're not running that in or out, just the depriming pin doesn't have to stick out of the die that far. If you're not running in and out and seeing if that makes a difference, you're borrowing my dies for no reason, because these haven't been set up. Don't set them up like you normally set them up. You need to take your expander ball, and I asked him if he mic'd it, and it mic'd 306, which would be 2,000 neck tension. That would be correct. It kind of surprised me that a guy that shoots that well, has that much experience, doesn't realize he can move that expander die back and forth, and make a difference at how he's engaging the sizing portion with the neck sizing portion of that die, and that transcends into what we're talking about. It's all about how you set up your dies, the flare, the crimp, the this, that. It's more complicated than most people think. And I first started out with 45 long Colt and cast bullets, so I struggled with that a little bit. I learned real quick you crimp on a separate step. I got tired of crushing brass, so that was years and years and years and years ago. Same with 4570.
The bad thing about it, in the instructions of these reloading die sets, they teach you how to do that, and that's not proper.
Precise. It's not precise at all.
Well, it's not proper procedures.
No.
Well, we also got to remember this. I won't say hey to my brother Chico out there. Great to see you out there, brother. We've been missing you.
Hey, Chico.
I hope you're still getting the link. I'll check that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. And a brain fart. Anyway, it's time for the verse of the week.
Good time for a
come
brain
back
fart.
to me. I interrupted myself, my train of thought, saying hey to Chico. I I hope our buddy Ron Wayne's still out there. He sent, y'all know that he's one of the two guys that asked for channel stickers and magnets and stuff for JH586 channel. And I promise y'all, I'm gonna start ordering stuff for Georgia Shooting Connection soon. But he sent me some back, and I got a bag full of his stuff, and it's really cool. He's even got bracelets, y'all, for his channel, and nice card in there. But I got this big old box from Ron Wayne, and I'm like, man, I just sent him an envelope like this, only it was folded over in half like that, you know, and had a couple of. Anyway, he sent me this book, and I think if I didn't know better, Ron Wayne was a fan of the verse of the week. It's the Rose Book of Bible Charts, Maps, and Timelines. And I'm so happy to have it. And there's really good stuff in there. And y'all will probably see more of this on incorporated into the verse of the week. Especially this section, 100 proofs for the Bible from the Old Testament. And if you guys are really interested, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about archaeology in the Holy Land where they are continuing to prove that the Bible is real and true, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Okay. Verse of the week. Verse of the week this week is John chapter 3 and verse 19. But we'll have to do a little bit of review. Let's get over to our banners. At this point, we should probably start our review with John 3:16. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. John 3:17 showed, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. 18 is the verse we studied last week. And I got a problem here. He who believes in him is not condemned, but he who does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Y'all bear with me for just a minute here. I swear I did this earlier. And here's our verse of the week for tonight. And this is the condemnation that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Okay. So we reviewed. Okay. Y'all know I love to share with y'all John MacArthur's notes and David Guzik notes as well. And we'll get to Guzik shortly. MacArthur has no notes here, and he does not have any notes through the end of this section. And I consider this section verses 18 through 21 there in John chapter 3, which is these are the verses that we'll be focusing on. Once we get through verse 21, we'll probably branch off into something else, because we've been on John chapter 3 for a while. Okay. And this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, And men loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Okay. Light has come into the world. Jesus is the light of the world. John wrote about this back in chapter 1, verses 4 and 5. So let me flip over there and I'll share that with you guys. I'm going to start in verse 1 and read through verse 5 of John chapter 1. If you have your Bible, follow along with us. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. Verse 3, all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. Verse 5, and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. And there's a note right there of comprehend, which actually the literal translation is overcome. When have y'all seen darkness overcome light? When you go outside and it's pitch black at night and you turn on that 1,500 lumen flashlight that you paid way too dang much money for, when has that darkness swallowed up that light? The light is more powerful than the darkness. Darkness could be defined as the absence of light, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't drive out darkness with more darkness. You can only drive it out with light.
Absolutely. Okay, these opening verses of John's gospel are so powerful, but these verses should drive us back to the very beginning, all the way back to Genesis 1. Let me flip over here. I've got it bookmarked. I'm practicing my preaching on y'all this evening. So if we look at Genesis chapter 1, verses 3 through 5. Well, let's just go from in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Verse 2, the light was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Verse 3, then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And he called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. God creates light on the very first day of creation. But it's not until verse 14 through 19, the fourth day of creation, do we read of God creating the sun, the moon, and the stars. So what was the light? John tells us Jesus is the light. It's my belief, and I believe the intent of John and possibly even Moses, to establish a separation of holiness and evil, of good and bad. And if that's so, then it's probably God's intent also. John, in the opening verses of his gospel, refer to Jesus as the light of men. And if we look back at our verse here, verse 19, it says, this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. That phrase there, men love darkness rather than light. Not only does light separate holiness from evil, righteousness from sin, and good from bad, it reveals evil. It reveals sin, and it reveals the bad. So Jesus is the light. His life is our standard. Our goal is to live like him. And when we can't live up to his standard, that standard is our compass. It's the direction we should go. It's our aiming point. Jesus' life defines what is evil, what evil is. Without God's word, and I'm talking about all of Scripture here, and Jesus' example, the world might not even comprehend what evil is, except for the fact that God puts a conscience in a human being, that they are born with a sense of right and wrong. And I believe we all can agree on that. So men love the darkness. If we continue reading there, men love the darkness rather than light. Evil is not seen, nor is it judged in the dark, in the darkness. And this is the condemnation. Do you love light or the darkness? That question right there reveals what the condemnation is, which is the very first words of the verse. This is the condemnation. Okay, Guzik says, this is the condemnation. Jesus came to bring salvation, but those who reject that salvation condemn themselves. We never need to leave the reason for anyone's condemnation at God's door. The responsibility is theirs alone. He quotes Trapp there as saying, heaven is too hot to hold unregenerate persons. No such dirty dog ever trampled on the golden pavement. It is an undefiled inheritance. Men love the darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Jesus explained what keeps people from faith and rescue in him. It is because they are drawn to darkness and love it more than the light. There is a critical moral dimension to unbelief that is often denied or ignored. Those who consciously reject Jesus often present themselves as heroic characters who bravely put away superstition and deal honestly with deep physiological problems. It is far more often true than that there is a moral compromise at the root of their rejection. Let me read that again. Those who consciously reject Jesus often present themselves as heroic characters who bravely put away superstition and deal honestly with deep physiological problems. It is far more often true that there is a moral compromise at the root of their rejection. Many opponents of Christianity have a vested interest in fighting against the truth of Jesus because they love their sin and don't want to face it or face a God who will judge their sins. That's a dangerous place to be. When we think of the love of sin that sends people to hell, we often think of notorious sin. But the simple demand to be Lord of my own life is enough of a sin to deserve condemnation before God. And I'll tell you right now, I'm guilty. There's a lot of times in my life where I want to do what I want to do more than I want to do what God wants me to do. And I pray for his forgiveness, and I need to repent and turn away from that attitude. Other than that, that's our verse of the week. We're open for questions and comments.
Jamie, the first comment I have is I heard a story about a World War II, I think, veteran who went off the war, and when he came back, he was in one piece. He said, "Mama, I appreciate you praying for me." And she said, I didn't pray for you. She said, every day I walk down to check the chickens and the livestock, I just said, Lord, thy will be done. Thy will be done. Because if I prayed, please send me my son back, I knew he would take me from you because I have sinned. So I just said, thy will be done. And you came back. There's a lot to be said with that. The Lord has his own way, and thy will be done. And you just have to trust.
Absolutely.
That's all I got.
That's a good one. We got good comments out here.
Kind of going through that with one kid right now. So I can't change it. I can't do it. I just, thy will be done.
I love that verse. But there's not 99 verses in 1 Peter chapter 2. About that. I think it's 9. And I should know that by heart because that's what we're studying in my Sunday school class. You're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. And Trent is correct. The light shows all. People don't like the light because it reveals their sin.
That's right. And that's part of what verse 19 is saying. People who are evil like the dark. They're there because they like being evil. Criminals are criminals because they like being criminals, and they're chicken to come into the light because they know they're going to get shown up for what they are, and they know they're doing wrong, but they don't want anybody else to know who they are, and so they hide. They run around like rats at night.
That's why most criminals do their dirty work at night in the dark. Because they don't want to get caught and have to pay the price. But here's the thing: if you live that way, if you used to live that way, there's still forgiveness. God will forgive you, and He will accept you into. Remember the thief on the cross. He said he turned to Jesus and said, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said, today you will be with me in paradise. So works don't get you there. It's about a relationship with Jesus where you strive to do better every day. My dad says, we live in a time where the little g God of this world wants to stomp out the light that lives in the hearts of those who call Jesus their Lord. Absolutely.
We're seeing it, and I don't want to go on the political side of it, but we've let people into this country that want to stomp out, not the country, they want to stomp out the church. They're not after the country, they're after the church.
Which is the basis of the country.
Yeah, it was the foundation. Anyway, we've got to start going through the room. Thorzak says, one second. No matter what you're going through and dealing with, don't give up your salvation through Jesus Christ. All right, count us down, big man.
Here we go. On 3, 2, 1. Hey, Mario. West Coast weirdo.
Every time Walter says that, I get a kick out of it.
Battle bean.
Hey,
They're practically
gotta have
neighbors.
fun with Mario.
Ron Wayne says darkness cloaks the evil, the light reveals it. Terrific verse. Glad you approve, Ron. And there's our brother Mario. And Mario even answers to the name. It is I, the West Coast weirdo. Walter, you do so well starting us off. Get us out of here, Percy.
We ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I got a video coming out Sunday about changing out my base pins and my Pietas, and next week we'll talk about the grips that I'm putting on. We got a Wad Cutter Wednesday coming up, the second half of the last RCBS wad cutter I have, which I think is the best of the RCBS wad cutters. And then we're getting dangerously close to the end of Wad Cutter Wednesday. I've got the two first wad cutters, the two Himmelwright bullets. Those are gonna finish up, and that'll be next month. And then I got to move to something else. But anyway, other than that, it is pretty much business as usual. My sister's got a cabin up in the Sierras. Gonna be the last part of next week up there with her. May or may not make it back for Friday. We'll see how it goes. My plan is to be back in time though. So that's what we got going on here. You want to drop downstairs to Bama Dad? And
Absolutely. That's great. Thanks for being here, Walter.
As far as me, I'm just hacking at the keyboard, trying to get it finished up. But every time I do, I find out something. I got to get more people in there using it. Walter called me up and he had a whole list. And everything he had was great, stuff that needed to be done. But I've got to port it back. Since I've made the changes, I got to port it back out for the Mac OS so he can play with it some more. And got to get some Windows testers. Tread said he's going to test. I've got a couple of big time shooters going to test it. And I'd like some of the guys around here to test it. Jamie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll get on that this weekend. I have a link.
That's okay. That's good because the live weather data will be in the new version. So just don't worry about it. I'm going to put up a new version probably tomorrow sometime. And it has the ability to pull weather from wherever you put in the city where you're at, you can even put in the address of a range wherever you're at, and it'll pull live weather data. And,
y'all keep going. Let me go and deal with this puppy dog. I'll be right back. I know y'all can hear
that, a few other things to do on it, and it'll be ready to go. And then I can start on my induction annealer and my bullet feeder for my 750, and I'd like to get some of those projects finished.
Yeah, I'm going to
start using some of that stuff, huh?
Go up to Kyle next. Thanks for being here, Bama Dad.
Well, Jamie, since you won't come over here and pick up your stuff that's here, maybe Wednesday afternoon, me and Angel will take a exploratory Jeep ride out your way and deliver it to you. Looking forward to that. I've really got nothing. I'm just trying to keep water in the pool and let the kids swim and keep the dogs happy. That's me. What about you, Six?
I ain't got nothing really planned. Yard work tomorrow, a few other things. I am going to try to shoot a pellet review Sunday morning if I get a chance to. I did get all of my pellets in that I'm going to start a new series with. I'm going to start doing the filming Labor Day weekend, so look forward to that. So it's going to be called Tuesday's Tipped Pellets. So
Nice.
stay tuned for that. Rebel, what's up?
I got 9,088 projects that I've got to do. that I can't do right now. And after this knee surgery, it gives me gumption to get through the rehab, to get that done. I got to get crappy lights all the way around my boat, which for those of y'all aren't in the know, it's green LEDs.
You're talking about fish lights, not just junk lights.
Yes. And I've got other LED lights to post on. This thing's going to look like the sun coming down the river. All right. I can't wait. I've got reloading projects I've got to do that I just can't get down to the basement and do it. I haven't got a perfect load for this custom 222, although it has worked well on groundhogs this year. I had a load good enough and deer deprivation. It's kind of funny. We sit here and talk about deer loads, what our favorite deer loads are. And this whole summer, I've been shooting, the month of August, I've been shooting deer with varmint rifles and how quick a varmint bullet puts them on the ground. Not that I would want to skin them out and recover any of that meat, because it's like sticking a grenade down their mouth and pulling the pin. It's unbelievable. Even a little 222 will put a deer on the ground in a heartbeat if you know where to shoot it. So that's not popular with everyone, but when it comes to agriculture, it's a fact of life. If you got a big deer population and a lot of agriculture, guys get deer deprivation permits. So I get the test. Yay. So it's just one of those things. And deer meat ain't worth crap in summer anyway. So other than that, I'm really been playing with my single actions, and I can't wait to load up some of the bullets CW brought down here and play with them, and some heavy full house loads and some of my original Blackhawks and Vaqueros, and something that can take it, and then play with this JP Sauer 357-38, like Six said, just loading 38s long, and so you don't get a carbon ring in your cylinder, and going for it and playing with it, and I've got so many projects to do, and I can't wait to get to them. And I got yard work. I've got lights to rewire and change the LED here in the house and at the shop, and I can't do any of it right now, and so it's all piling up on me, but I'll get it done. CW, what do you got?
I got 3 videos coming up next week. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. Thank everybody in the side chat. Had a really good, active side chat tonight. I spent a little more time over here. Jamie.
Yes.
Your turn.
I got a bunch of footage to make, at least 3 videos, and I need to get busy, and I need to not. You see, if I didn't have to go to work every day, I wouldn't have this problem. Anyway, we'll leave y'all with this. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. We love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. And if he's willing, we'll see you next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Say good night, y'all.
God
Good night,
bless.
everybody.
Night, guys.